those who are literate can make it in life. Those who are illiterate don't make it in life.
If you lack proficiency in reading, that, it's hard to be self-actualized, it's hard to have a decent job, it's hard, so much is difficult.
Does reading make you smarter? The answer is yes. Crystallized intelligence is just massively built by reading itself, okay? Independent of education, independent of fluid intelligence.
Ultimately, the measures of your cognitive abilities tend to move down in the direction of your reading abilities.
Reading isn't just about the acquisition of information. It also becomes the principal gateway for the acquisition of new language.
Well, after fourth grade or during fourth grade and beyond, vocabulary now enters through print. It doesn't enter through hanging out with your friends on the corner.
If vocabulary is going to grow after the fourth grade, then necessarily you have to be exposed to such words. The factors is enormous. It's 5 to 1, 10 to 1, 20 to 1 that a written source is going to give you more of just those exposures.
Multiple exposure to words builds vocabulary. As vocabulary grows, you enhance your capacity to participate in all of this content area discussion. Science, social studies, history. All of this is going around you now, and you're increasingly being left out. If you're not even if you're a non-reader, if you're a poor reader, if you're a kid who chooses not to read, if you're the kind of youngster that is never going to pick up a book and is going to put it down as soon as you can after someone puts it in your hand.
We looked at exposure and to other media, okay, electronic media, television, reading, again, educational level, intelligence. So if crystallized knowledge is part of your concept of intelligence, and it is for 90% of the theorists out there, then in fact reading does make you smarter.
The problem is our society's lack of insight into what is involved in acquiring literacy.
It is so critical that we invoke the public imagination and will to get this done.
Most of the research says if the child starts out significantly behind, that's a predictor of what they're going to end up in, how they're going to end up in the third grade, the sixth grade, the problems that they're going to end up with.
In other words, first grade really predicts third and fourth grade quite well. Third and fourth grade predicts seventh and eighth grade quite well. Seventh and eighth grade predicts 12th grade quite well.
If students aren't prepared in their reading abilities and their comprehension abilities, they fall back in all areas. That's what we see, is that when I look at the data on performance later on in schools, as they get into secondary schools, all of these scores are very highly correlated for any individual. People who read well know more science, they know more mathematics.
The longitudinal studies that we have regarding the evolution of reading development suggest that if you're substantially impaired in first grade, you're very, very likely to be substantially impaired in fourth grade. And if that's the case in fourth grade, you're probably looking at a school history of academic failure to one degree or another.
If you know a child's reading ability by the third grade, you generally have a very high ability to predict whether they're going to graduate from high school or not, and what their abilities are going to be and what their future is going to be.
If children do not have reading fluency by the end of third grade, it's going to cost 7 to 8 times as much in time and in money to address their reading problems and get them up to grade level in reading.
If low literacy skills were a dread disease, we would have found effective ways to address it long before now.
Why don't we just stop everything when kids aren't learning to read? I mean, why are we even doing anything else?